Hi guys, in this video we are going to understand about how we can create the user in the IAM, and you can see that I have already logged in on the AWS console. So what we need to do is, first of all, we have to go to the IAM, the Identity Access Management. You can search for the IAM service from here as well, and once you get the IAM, manage access to the AWS resources, so you just have to click on it. Once the IAM dashboard opens, you're going to observe that the IAM is a global service, which means that you don't have to select a region when you work on the IAM. Here you can see the region is grayed out. Now, in the theory session, in the theory video, we have seen that IAM has different components, like we have users, groups, roles, policies, MFAs and all. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about how we can create an IAM user and how we are going to log in on the AWS account with the help of the IAM user credentials. So what you need to do is, once you open up the Identity Access Management, under the Access Management, you have to go to the users, click on the users, and here you can see in my account there are close to 161 users that are added. You can have thousands of users added, and later on you can ask for limit increase. You can ask AWS to increase the limit as well. Now what you need to do is, you have to click on add users, put the username. Let's say I put something like Cloud Institute as a username. Now when you work on the AWS, you provide different type of accesses, like AWS can be accessed using a web console. So this is a web console, which is a graphical user interface. AWS can be accessed with the help of a CLI, the command line interface. It can also be accessed with the help of the SDKs and through the API calls as well. So what type of an access you want to grant to this user? Let's say I want to give this user an access of the graphical user interface or the management console. So I just have to click on it, provide user access to AWS management console, and then click on next. Before clicking on next, here it asks you a notification. Are you providing console access to a person, or you're going to create a new IAM user? So what we are going to do, we are going to create a new IAM user. So I'll just click on it. I want to create a new IAM user. If you keep specify a user in Identity Center selected, this is a recommendation that you use Identity Center to provide console access to a person. And with the Identity Center, you can centrally manage user access to the AWS accounts and the cloud application. So Identity Center is kind of a repository. You can consider it just like an Active Directory. So there you would have the users created, and the users would have the access of various different AWS accounts, and this will be a central repository. From there you can manage all the user credentials. So right now we are not working on the Identity Center. We are looking into how we can create a new user. So I'll just go with, I want to create an IAM user. Now how do you want the console password to be generated? It can be auto generated. A random password will be generated by the AWS, or in case if you want to customize the password, so you just have to click on custom password and provide the password of your choice. Let's say I have provided learn@123 L capital. Now I want user must create a new password at next sign in, which means that when the user is going to log in on the AWS, the AWS is going to ask them to make the password change, to change the password. So you have to put the old password and then you have to add the new password, which will be your permanent password. In case if you want to stick with the same password, you just have to uncheck this option. In that case, this will be the permanent password. So I want the user should be making the change. They should be customizing the password of their choice. Click on next. The next thing is what type of permissions, the policies that needs to be granted to the user. Should the user be having the access of the entire AWS account, all the services, or you want a specific access provided to the user? Let's say the user should have the access of only EC2 service or the S3 service or both. So for that, how do we assign the user the permissions? That is through the policy assignments. So there are three ways. One is the permissions can be granted to the user by adding user to the group. So what we can do is we can create a group. In that group, we can add a user, and whatever the permissions that has been given to the group, automatically the user will also get that permissions. That is one way. And in the next demo, in the next lab session, we are going to see how we can work on the groups as well. The next thing, or the next way of assigning the permission to the user is using copy permissions. So if you go with copy permissions, what happens is you are copying the permission from an existing user and assigning it to the new user. So let's say if there is already a user who has certain level of permissions and the same permissions you want to grant to a new user, you can do it using copy permissions. The third is attach policies directly, and that's the way we are going to attach the permission to this user. So I'll click on attach policies directly. Policies are the set of permissions, and here you can see there are so many policies that would be reflected. Wherever the cube is mentioned, the cube symbol is mentioned, these are the default Amazon provided policies. We have not created it, they are already existing with the AWS account. For example, I want to give this user an access of administrator access or the admin access. Now what happens in the case of an admin access? The user would have the privilege to work on any of the AWS services, full access, technically. So I will click on administrator access policy, and then once I attach it, the user would have those privileges or permissions. Now guys, the policies are created in the form of a JSON format, and you can read the default policies also. In case if you want to provide a granular access to a particular user, let's say if you want to restrict it and you want to further restrict it to a particular instance, for example, then you can create your own policy as well. You can click on create policy and then you can write your policy and assign it. Obviously it requires some experience, some practice as well. If you want to read how the policies are written, what you need to do is you just have to expand it, and here you would find the policy is written in the JSON format. Effect is allow, action is asterisk, resource is asterisk. That means allow the access of every service on the AWS. The full access should be provided. So there is no limitations in terms of providing the access. The other concept is it is not necessary that you have to provide a single policy to the user or single set of permissions to the user. You can assign multiple permissions to the user as well. I can assign any other policy as well in case if I want. Alright. And then there is a permission boundary as well. So in the case of permission boundary, what happens is you can limit the maximum number of policies that should be assigned to the user. Otherwise what would happen? Any new person who is going to work on AWS is going to assign multiple policies together to a user, and there will be unlimited policies you can assign to the user. So you can restrict how many policies can be attached to a particular user or a group with the help of the permissions boundary. And that's what it says. Use a permission boundary to control the maximum permissions that should be applied. So now I'm just going to click on next. Again, review all the configuration and then click on create a user. Once the user is created, you get the following information like the console sign-in URL, the username and the password. Right? Now you have to copy the console sign-in URL to the clipboard, and you just have to paste it. Otherwise, I'm going to show you another way of connecting to the AWS console with the user credentials. What you need to do is you need to have the account ID of the AWS. Either you can have this console sign-in URL also, that's absolutely fine. You can save it on your local systems. Or the other way is, what you need to do is you have to click on top right side of your AWS account, copy the account ID and save it. Afterwards, log out from the root credentials from your AWS console, and then again click on sign into the console. Once you click on sign into the console, instead of the root user, you have to log in as an IAM user now. So click on the IAM user. Once you select the IAM user, it will ask you for the account ID. So you just have to provide the 12-digit account ID. Click on next. Now it is going to ask you for the username and the password. So you just have to provide the username Cloud Institute and the password L capital learn@123 and click on sign in. Since we selected while creating a user that the user should be able to change the password, so we have to, the AWS asks us to change the password. I'll provide the old password learn@123 and now the new password, that is going to be learn@1234. Retype the password again and confirm the password change. So now you can see that at the top right side I have logged in as a user Cloud Institute to this account ID. So account IDs are generally unique for each and every AWS account. Just like we have the bank accounts, the unique account number, similarly the AWS account IDs as well. So this was the way how we can create an IAM user, how we can attach the policies permissions to the user, and how we can test that user credentials. In the next lab sessions, we are going to look into more about the IAM and its components. Thanks for watching.